Hello and welcome back to Icebane Gaming. Today I have another art time lapse for y'all, and today I am going to be drawing Jaz and May, two of the main characters in the comic I've been writing, and well, I figured may as well get some more practice drawing them, and what better way to do that than to draw them together. So starting off, we have the rough guidelines. As you could see, I messed around with that hand quite a lot, struggled with it, and I do end up resizing both Jaz and May a little bit later on because, well, I felt like they took up too little of the canvas. From the position that I had them in starting with, it was going to be Jaz is just sitting up, watching the television, and May is just leaning on her. And, well, there was the resize. And May is sleeping. I did a very early color select, photosensitivity warning. And, well, for this, I say canonically, they're watching anime. Well, they were. Now May's sleeping. I've been thinking about ways to simplify designs, and I think the way that I'm going to do it in the future is I'm going to make it so that the line art is going to be one color. While I do like to have the softer approach of having a similar color for the line art as it would be for the color flats below it, it's not really that practical, considering. And it takes a bit more time for the color select, and I'm thinking I'm going to do a magenta for the lines, but that's just a thought. Could come or go. Still is in the early phases of conceptualization, mostly character design currently, and well, we'll see where it goes. Here I have as you could see that hand right there, I am going to be changing it a lot, because I didn't like how it looked. I decided to have Jaz's tail wrap around May while May is sleeping, kind of signify how close they are. Later on, I have to split up Jaz's tail into two separate segments, so that it would be able to go over May, since Jaz is technically behind her. You'll see that later on. I struggle a bit with May's face, however, I figure it out. The shape here is going to change. I did, believe it or not, take about 4 different days to draw this, to finish it, because, well, I've been busy. I got tired during it. I should also mention that I recorded this, the art part of this, about 2 weeks ago, as of the time I am recording me saying this. And, well, I was doing the bunny for May's shirt. I mess around with it a bit. It's going to be a little bit smaller later on. As in, like, right there. And it's gonna be even more so later on, when I get to the color flats. That hand is going to be adjusted later on as well. I felt I drew it too big. There is May's foot and her tail. Alright, and I decided to do the couch right now. It's a very rough couch, nothing too special, just a little bit of background. It's what they're sitting on after all. And here I start messing with the hand even more, and I end up turning it into a balled up fist. There I go, messing with May's face. And I'm going to adjust how she's leaned right there. Because I felt like the way that she was leaned was a little bit too stiff. Now she's a bit more relaxed. And here we go with the line art and color flats. As I said, in future iterations I may adjust how I do the line art part of this. I'm going to throw up a picture of something I did as one of the first things I did with my drawing tablet. Which does, however, feature Jazz. And also my old OC of me. But yeah, just a bit of practice that one was. And it took me about twice as long as it took me to do this whole thing, and it was simpler. Mostly because I was learning programs. I'm going to adjust the lines on the breasts for both Jaz and May throughout the line art. And there was the third picture I've ever drawn with my tablet, or was that the fifth? Either way, that one was one of the earlier iterations of Jaz, which I did like. Yeah, it's an older iteration. I had a different shading style back then. The reason why I pulled up her in that picture is because I haven't drawn Jazz's pants since then. There's my classic fur technique, inside out. And I'm probably going to simplify that later on as well. Or make it more complex. At the end of the day, you'll see what it's like when I actually get to writing the comic. Here I go with the eyes and the nose. I was adjusting their position because I felt like I was a little off. And the tail. You'll see very shortly how I broke it up into segments. This here is the back segment of the tail. And I didn't put as much detail into the fur where it was going to be covered, as you can see there, because that would just take time that, honestly, I didn't want to waste. And here is the upper layer. The outer part starting out was just the starting with the cream colored fur and going to the brown colored fur. There you can see it's separated. And later on I will be showing myself covering up the top a little bit more, blending it with the back, because, well, May popped through. It's probably going to move by so quickly that you won't see it, but still, I had May in a position that she showed up clipping through the tail. Small fix. Something that you probably wouldn't notice in the time lapse. And we're working on May's line art. And there I go, adjusting the hand because I realized I made it too big, as I mentioned earlier. And then I forgot the detail of her bracelet. Again, easy fix. There I go, adjusting the breast. And there's finishing up on that foot. And the color flats. I really like how I do silver. It's something that I only really started doing when I was making these videos, and I loved how I did it. I still love how I do it, and I'm probably not going to stop with the silver doing it that way. Doing the fur patterns for the hands and feet. and the shirt design. I'm going to be adjusting it a little bit throughout this process, as you'll see coming up. And adjust it a little bit more, so that it looked like it bent a little bit more with her shirt, the way that it was positioned on her body. And here we go on the tail. I put a little dot so I could remember what the stripes were colored as, because, well, her tail stripes are a little bit thicker than they are on May. Or, well, on Jazz. This is May. Anyways. I am... At this point, it was another day skip, and I wanted to adjust a couple things, such as the line art on Jazz's lips and her eyes, as well as her eyebrows, because I felt like I positioned them in an awkward way. Looking at it now, 2 weeks later, I probably would have adjusted the one of the eyes a little bit more, but, well, once the project's done, I don't work on it anymore. That's just one of my rules. Working on the background, made it quite simple. Tried to flesh it out a little bit, make it feel a little bit more homely. A little tea mug on the side table, and I'm going to remove a lot of the shading I had in the background there because, well, I did not shade it properly for what I was going for. I was going for a dark room with the TV on in front of them, directly in front. Exactly where the camera is positioned in front of Jazz and May. For the first pass of shading, I did go a little soft. However, later on you'll see that I deepen a lot of the shadows. And there is May. I like how I shaded May in this one. Couple little fixes here and there, and here I go darkening the shading, because I realized since it's a dark room, it should be a lot darker. And the reason why we're able to see so much light is because we are the light source. And here is a little bit of detail that I started on that made me think, oh, the background, I should change the shading for that. And I made a rectangular shade there to kind of like signify that it's a rectangular light that's just blasting them coming from us. Couple little corrections on the shading around the side table. And here is a little bit of design I put into the background. A simple modern style painting, not really that hard for me to do. Did a zebra pattern, and for a little bit of detail, did a little bit of dark and light for the TV in the background. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. And most importantly, have a good one.